Is it time for a QB change in Cleveland? With a 34-13 loss to the Washington Commanders, the Cleveland Browns moved to 1-4 in the season and easily look like one of the worst teams in the league. The team looks lifeless on offense, and although it's harsh, the main reason is DeShaun Watson and his awful play this season. I'm not going to dive into Watson as a person. Well, I'm not going to ignore it either. He's had countless off-field allegations and lawsuits against him, and he seems like a worse person than an NFL quarterback. But maybe we'll talk about that later. First, his on-the-field play. Watson this season has looked like one of the worst QBs in the NFL, posting below average numbers in all statistical categories. He's 23rd in the league in completion percentage, 26th in passing yards, the 31st ranked adjusted QB rating in the league with 21.0, and is behind the likes of Will Levis and Gardner Minshew. And in the game against the Commanders, he posted an 8.6, the second rating below 10 for him this season. Statistically, Watson is struggling, that's to put it lightly, and he doesn't pass the eye test to make it all worse. Sometimes you look at stats and it doesn't really show the full picture, but in this case, it does. The offense looks flat, Watson looks indecisive, he struggles with accuracy, and I don't think any defense in the NFL right now is afraid to play Watson or the Browns. The DBs are probably licking their chops. The Browns just aren't scoring points and rank only behind the Patriots, who we expected to suck, and the Tualus Dolphins with a sad 15.8 points per game. The weapons in Cleveland, however, are average to above average in my opinion. Amari Cooper, who I see being traded to a contender sooner rather than later, is still a great player and can get open with ease. Jerry Jeudy has the potential to be a great player. He just needs to clean up some of those drops. Elijah Moore showed promise on a few occasions and has one of the best win rates against man coverage in the league. David Njoku has been hurt but has shown potential as a dominant tight end, and Jerome Ford has been a serviceable backup to the hurt Nick Chubb. All these guys can play in the NFL and are better than what the Browns has been putting down. Last year's team was a perfect example of this. Joe Flacco came in for 5 games and absolutely lit teams up, throwing for 323.3 yards a game and 13 touchdowns, leading Cleveland into the playoffs with an 11-6 record. Clearly, he could elevate the offense, unlike Watson. Watson can use the excuse of injuries to the O-line, being sacked the most in the league, 26 times, 8 times more than any other player, but a lot of this is also on Watson himself. The O-line can sometimes be blamed, but not always. As you can see from one sack in the Commanders game, Watson has a clean pocket with over 4 seconds to throw, but runs directly into the defender, dances around, and eventually gets the ball ripped out of his hands for a turnover. The reaction of Watson and Bobby Wagner chirping next to him says it all. Boneheaded play. During the Commanders game, there was also a viral clip of DeShaun Watson walking off the field on 4th down. Stefanski looks like he's losing it on him. The narrative of this clip is that Watson is quitting on his team. I know the play looks bad, but this wasn't actually on Watson. Some context for the clip. On the play, there were too many men on the field, and the Browns were going to get a penalty regardless. So while the clip does look bad on Watson, it's really worse on the Browns as a whole. Coaching clearly, however, isn't the issue, at least with the exception of the play above when we're talking about the offense. Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time Coach of the Year and one of the best offensive minds in all of football. Offensive relating to offense in football, not offensive like DeShaun's off-field activities. But it seems as if decision-making has gone beyond him, and owner Jimmy Haslam is probably making the call to continue to play Watson over an alternative at cornerback. I'm sure if it were up to Stefanski, he would be moving to Jameis Winston because Watson isn't cutting it. Defensively, however, Cleveland bolsters one of the best in the league. Myles Garrett is arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. They have other studs, JOK, Denzel Ward, and more. Statistically, they're having a bit of a down year, but when you're hamstrung by an offense that can't produce, that's probably going to happen, and Watson is the issue. He also has probably the worst contract in all of pro sports. 5 years, $230 million, fully guaranteed. I mean, there are other bad contracts. Ben Simmons, for example, in the NBA. Brady, if the TV gig doesn't improve. Just joking, at least sort of. But yeah, in the NFL, players don't get fully guaranteed contracts, at least usually, but somehow Watson's magician of an agent, full credit to the guy, pulled the wool over Browns owner Jimmy Haslam's eyes and got the deal done. Now the Browns are not only bad, but also cap strapped and tied to Watson for 2 more years with a nearly $73 million cap hit each year. And you want to know the icing on the cake? The Browns didn't sign Watson in free agency, nothing like that. They traded for him, giving up multiple draft picks, which has helped make the Texans one of the top teams in the NFL. Look at their offense last week against the Bills. That was fun to watch. The year of football, the injuries, or even the money must have changed Watson because he's not the player he once was in Houston. For the Texans, he honestly did look like one of the best QBs in the league, elevating that offense with the dynamic passing attack, which brought the team to the playoffs on multiple occasions. Watson once showed that he can make every throw, manipulate a pocket, and even take off and run. This is not the case in Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland just has him bumped. I get it. Something has changed in Watson, who was once seen as a franchise player. Oh, and don't worry, we're going to get to the massage parlor too. Changes must be made in Cleveland, regardless of how bad the contract is. You can't keep going out and having this terrible, terrible booty cheeks product on the field. You're wasting good defense. You're wasting years of teammates' careers. And if it wasn't for that guaranteed contract, a change would have been made already. I say, put in Jameis. See what he's got. Is he weird as hell? Yes. Do his teammates love him? Also yes. He also was once a number 1 overall draft pick. He's got the talent. Let's see what he can do. People are going to say, well, we spent the money on Watson. That's called a sunk cost fallacy. That money has been spent either way. You might as well try to win some football games. And the Browns could look a lot different with Winston at the helm, and I want to see it. I can only imagine what the team would look like if they'd never traded for Watson and kept Baker Mayfield, who is out here looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the league and easily an MVP candidate. And you know, what makes this video just come out nicely without any regret or bad feelings, even though I'm dumping on a player's career, is the fact that by all accounts, DeShaun Watson is also a piece of shit. DeShaun Watson has been credibly accused by nearly 24 women of assault at massage parlors. Now, to be completely frank, he's never faced criminal charges on this nature, but he has settled 23 lawsuits in the matter, and also a couple of days ago settled another lawsuit for a similar situation. In 2022, the poor guy, it's hard to even say this, he suffered through just a devastating 11-game suspension from the NFL. Hopefully his massive guaranteed contract helped him feel a little bit better about that, but it's possible that doing crimes was giving him his power because he stinks now. Anyway, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on all this and more down below. If you enjoyed today's video, please drop a like, and if you want more content, there's a new basketball, football, and hockey video on screen right now. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.